host for today, and I'm thrilled to have you all as joined for an unfiltered chat. So, today we have a very special guest. Meet Miss Ramlah Merchant, who completed the Advanced Certificate in Digital Marketing and Communication from MICA and upgrad last year. So, welcome, Ramlah. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. Thank you so much, Soumya, for the introduction.
Great. So, to all our viewers, get ready to hear her live story from pre to post upgrad learning journey. And feel free to drop your questions in the comment section, and we'll pick it towards the end of this session. Okay. So, Ramla, we are eager to listen to your journey and insights about the course. So, first, why don't you tell us about your professional journey and background?
Sure, absolutely. I've spent about, I would say, 8 years already in the education industry. So I started in about 2016, and I started off teaching. It was
Hmm.
for a year in the US in a charter school. I was teaching maths to high school students, and that's where I was kind of exposed to education technology, and I was completely fascinated by it. So I came back. I came to India. I was studying in the US before that, and I started working with a young ed tech startup, and they had a personalized learning product. And so my job was to essentially work on the ground with teachers and integrate that product into their classroom. So this was like over 60 low-income school classrooms, across India. So it was quite a task, but it gave me deep insights into the education industry and just the challenges that we face in India's educational landscape. And I did that for about 3 years. I learned a lot about the challenges that we kind of undergo, and then I kind of went to pursue a master's at NYU in an effort to kind of solve some of those challenges. It was a course in digital media design for learning, so just designing better products for mass adoption in young economies like India. And then, unfortunately, that experience was cut short by the pandemic. A lot of us that just suddenly stopped what we were doing in life, and had to come back home to India. And I think, really the pandemic kind of just changed the entire job market, and the entire the workforce became completely digital, right? So I think that's where I came across upgrad. And upgrad was essentially building courses for professionals trying to acquire digital skills in this job market that's suddenly disrupted by COVID. And I kind of wanted to be at the forefront of that revolution, so I chose to kind of join upgrad and be a part of the revolution that they were creating in online learning. And at that time, it was very, very popular. Everyone was trying to upskill so that they could be relevant. And it continues to be very popular today. So that's essentially my journey in a nutshell so far.
That's amazing. I think upgrad was like your thing, and that's how you got connected with it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Amazing. So, could you tell us something about how was the curriculum, how was the faculty, and how was your experience dealing with the projects?
Sure, absolutely. So I think for me, my main objective for taking the course was I wanted to upskill in digital marketing. It's a really important future skill. And I think every employer, it's one very appealing and attractive skill, especially in this new digital workforce. And in fact, I learned it during COVID that every new business that didn't have an online digital footprint was now very eager to get that footprint, because if they didn't have online existence, it's as good as they don't exist. So this is something that I learned from a lot of people who are upskilling in the space. So for me, because I was working on a digital marketing portfolio, so I was building digital marketing courses for such professionals. I wanted to upskill and in the field myself, and I was very nascent to it. So I decided to take the digital marketing course with Micah, because I thought that the curriculum, when I went over the curriculum at the start, I thought it was extremely comprehensive. And what is great about the course is they have two personalized tracks for people who are complete beginners. And I would describe myself as a complete beginner. And then for some people, who have experience already. But I decided to take the executive track. And for me, that was wonderful because it gave me a lot of hands-on experience. So the whole process of actually running campaigns on, like Facebook Ads Manager, Google Ads, first, when I used to see these platforms, it appeared very daunting to me, and I was like, I can't do this. But what was great about Upgrad is they took us through the whole process step by step. They had recorded content. They had they had live sessions on weekends where we had special instructors who would literally take us through the platform in its current form. And I think it was wonderful because we always had someone on call to answer our questions, even in the middle of the week. Sometimes I think we had Wednesday deadlines, and
Oh,
I remember I would work on my course in the evenings. And if I had a problem, so I remember once I had a problem on my email marketing campaign and I was just stuck, couldn't proceed. But I had a wonderful TA who connected with me. They had these daily doubt resolution sessions. And I think within 10 minutes, I shared my screen with her and she was able to solve my doubt. And I was really happy because I could submit my project after that. So I think overall, the experience is very holistic and comprehensive. They have recorded content, they have live sessions, and given the fact that the digital marketing industry is so dynamic, there are things changing overnight, and especially now with the advent of AI, having those live sessions on weekends was very valuable for me because it meant that I could learn about the latest updates. What are the latest tools that are being used in digital marketing in AI, for example? So I think that aspect of it was very valuable for me. Yeah, and as I mentioned, they cover all the digital marketing channels, so it's a very kind of fully formed learning experience, and they make sure that you have both time to consume content on your own, as well as participate in projects, so you get that full kind of learning experience that you'd hope for in such a course.
that's great. So this sounds like a very engaging learning experience, and this is not quite usual. So
Absolutely, yeah.
how's the feeling to kind of learn again at this point?
Well, it's a bit unusual. At the start it was a bit unusual because you spent so many years working. So I
Yeah.
mentioned that I was working for 3 years.
Mhm.
Briefly, I did kind of go back to school again, but that was for a very short period of time. And once again, I was working after that. So I think for me, see, you have to constantly be upskilling as a working professional. I think there's no two ways about that, and that's the thing that Upgrad keeps on stressing. And especially, with the changing dynamic of the workplace and the digital economy today, if we're not upskilling, especially with digital skills, then there's a very strong chance that at one point we no longer will be relevant. So that was very important for me. And I came up with a very robust plan to make sure that I was balancing my work with studies, as well as some of my social life. But I think when you choose to participate in a program which is about 11 months long, you have to really set aside very clear time for that. And I think my what I kind of followed was to make sure that I spend some time on it every single day. So it's not like I'm spending my entire weekend on it. I still have some time for myself on weekends. But I think that strategy really worked well. Understanding how big is the module for this week. Let me kind of divide it up into bite-sized chunks. And I think that's a great way to do any learning program. But yeah, I think I was able to manage it eventually. I got into the rhythm of watching videos, answering questions. I think overall it was quite a fun experience. They have some really engaging instructors. Like I remember Nikhil Kant. He I used to work at Uber, and he did a module on content marketing, and I just loved watching his videos. He's really funny. So I think some of the modules are very engaging that way, and you don't actually get to know how time goes by, and you've finished the entire module. So that's kind of how I approach the entire thing.
That's great. I think this is really very inspiring. And could you also tell us about the one-on-one industry mentorship, because our courses provide that, and how was that for you?
Absolutely. So I will say one thing. For me, my primary outcome from this course was professional confidence. It wasn't necessarily a transition of sorts, or getting or anything on those lines. Hopefully, another outcome would have been an internal promotion. Just me kind of strengthening my knowledge in digital marketing and really taking ownership of the programs that I'm working on. So I had one mentorship call. Honestly, I didn't. I felt like I didn't need to have too many mentorship calls, and he was just very helpful in helping me kind of figuring out the entire program, because I was very new to digital marketing when I took it. So I think it wasn't from a career perspective at all, but it was more about understanding, how my journey over the entire digital marketing course would look like. And I think one major area where he helped me was in picking my specialization. So I was able to kind of explain my interests to the mentor, and he was helpful in kind of explaining the different specializations. I know that UpGrad has about 5 specializations, and unfortunately, when I was part of the program, I think they hadn't added the generative AI specialization yet,
Yeah.
but it's now been added, and I wish that I was, it was there when I was a learner. I would have definitely taken it. But yeah, so I think the mentorship call really just helped me to understand, I think, specifically how to chart out my journey across the program and which specializations to take. I ended up taking the one on social media, I think, because that spoke the most to my interests. But I think for different people, they will have different agendas in that call. And for most people, in fact, whether they want to transition or they're coming from a different industry, the mentors can be really helpful in terms of specific steps that you should be taking in your careers. How can you kind of really upskill yourself further beyond the program? So, I mean, doing the program is one thing, but really getting into the skin of a digital marketer, starting to think like a digital marketer, that's what really makes you successful at the end of the day. Like following important people on Instagram or LinkedIn, following, blogs like Mad Over Marketing, for example. And I remember a lot of our mentors and instructors told us about this during the course, and I started doing that, and I still do that till today. And
Oh,
there's some really engaging content out there. So I think these are important factors. Yeah.
great. But I also love the fact, Ramla, that you're very clear about your objective, what you want, how you want it. So that's really rare in people. So, can you also highlight one major experience or one major thing about this course?
Sure, absolutely. I think for me, to be honest, like I mentioned, this particular course kind of brings together a lot of different experiences. One of the experiences that I really enjoyed was towards the end of the course, which is the capstone project. This was a group project. So it was an opportunity for me to collaborate with my peers in the program, and kind of work on an integrated marketing campaign. And I think what was great about it was that everyone in my group had a very different skill set, and also different work experience. So they all had something different to kind of contribute in that project. And it was a really fun experience. The great thing about my group was that everyone was willing to participate and they were very active. And at the end of it, we put together a really, I would say, fun project. We had a great experience putting it together. We got it out in time, and everyone was very responsible. Sometimes your group experiences may not be the best
Yeah.
because people are not participating, and then it just becomes very frustrating. And I was hoping that I would not get such a group, but thankfully my group was amazing. I really enjoyed learning from them. Collaboration is a very important part of a learning experience.
Absolutely.
So for me, honestly, that was the highlight of the program, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
And so, did you also make friends in this
I
entire journey?
I would say, yeah. I mean, I've made a couple of friends, but more than friends, I would say I've built a very strong network from this program. I'm still a part of the WhatsApp group that was created by my peers in this program. And for example, when anyone comes across a relevant job opportunity or an internship opportunity, they post on that group. I've done this myself. I've come across an opportunity and I've posted on that group, and people have reached out to me with CVs, and I've connected them with with employers. So I think it's a great platform for networking, honestly, and I have built that very strong network. Also, because we have that WhatsApp group, like I mentioned, there are people from different backgrounds and different work experiences, right? So when people have a problem, let's say in a project, like a blog project, because you're part of that WhatsApp group, you can actually post on it and get support from your peers. Sometimes you want to reach out to someone who's in the same boat. You don't want to reach out directly to an instructor. Just, some people have different qualms about it. So at times that really helped me. I actually reached out on the group and someone immediately helped me. And similarly, I've had people directly reach out to me because I had some experience on WordPress, and I was able to help them. So yeah, like I said, you kind of walk away with a very strong professional network. It's not just Upgrad's career services, but also your peers. Some of them already have a lot of experience in the digital marketing industry. So I think once you're part of that network, you have kind of like lifelong access to opportunities, to internships. And once you kind of, that's a great way to get your foot into the door, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a very competitive industry. And if you have people referring you or giving you direct access to that network, I think there's nothing better than that.
Amazing, Ramla. I think you have covered a lot of points that are actually our learners' queries. And what is that one advice you would want to give to the potential learners?
Sure. I would suggest that anyone who is even, well, first of all, digital marketing is an absolutely essential skill set to have in this
Absolutely.
economy and this kind of business landscape. Most definitely, if you own a business. So I would suggest that if you're looking to upskill in that area, there's no two ways about it, and you have to do this upskilling journey with Mica University, because it's one of the most reputed institutions for marketing. So I would definitely suggest, if you want to kind of do an online course based in India, then there's no two ways about it. Go ahead, do it with Mica. Because you won't get better quality faculty. There's some amazing people like Professor Siddharth Deshmukh, Professor Falguni, Professor Amit Kushore, and you don't want to miss learning from them. So that's one piece of advice I'd give you. And if you do go ahead and choose to take this course, really give it your 100%. I know a lot of people start off with courses and then they kind of drop off, but you won't regret it. And every single instructor will tell you this in the course, that if you finish the entire experience and give your all 100% to it, then you will take away a lot and you'll go very far, whether it's in the digital marketing industry or whether it's just as an entrepreneur. But yeah, I think that's the advice I would kind of give you.
Amazing, Ramla. I think you have given the best advice, and I'm sure whoever is joined us right now has something or the other to take. And viewers, we are at the end of the live session, and this is our Q&A round. So, Ramla, why don't we answer a few questions? I'll just read it out to you. So, Bharat Deshmukh is asking, how many specializations can I choose?
Sure. So I think as of now, you can definitely choose 5 specializations. Upgrad offers 5 specializations in all, and you can do all 5. But if you like, I, for example, only did one because I felt that there was only one specialization that really appealed to me. But you're welcome to do 2, 3, or all 5 of them. And I would 100% recommend the one in generative AI. Like I mentioned during my session, if I was there at that time, I would have definitely taken it. But that's another key skill set that you need to kind of upskill in this digital landscape, especially since tools like ChatGPT and so many other tools in marketing have come out. So yeah, 5 specializations is the answer.
Great, Bharat. So I hope that you have heard it and noted it down. And Sunita Khanvilkar has to ask, can I learn digital marketing through this certification program from my city?
Absolutely. I mean, the beauty of this program is that it's online, right? So you can be anywhere in the world, quite frankly, and take this program. We have a lot of international learners in this program, and I remember collaborating with a couple of them. So yeah, you can go anywhere you want to in the world. That's the beauty of remote learning today.
Okay, and one last question. Pratiksha Bhatt is asking, how do you manage work and studies at the same time? Because
Well, that's a great question to ask,
yeah.
honestly. The very first thing I will say is you have to have a strong will to do it. If that will is not there, then you will not be able to even begin making a plan. like I mentioned, have a very clear kind of divide between your work and your after work activities. Don't let them kind of blend into each other. For me, I mentioned this, I had a very clear plan about what I wanted to achieve every single day. So, if there is a module with, I don't know, four or five sessions in it, and I had 1 week to complete it, I kind of divided it up. I'll do this much on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Maybe if there was a slightly bigger session, I would say that I'll do it on together on the weekend. So just have a very clear plan. But if you are dedicated to this program, then you will realize that implementing that plan and having that balance between work and between your studies is not that problematic. And the great thing about this program is also that they have many extensions. I think it's about 6 extensions. So they realize, right, that we're working professionals, we have a busy life, we have other priorities. And that really helped me because I had to take an extension once. I think it was for the web analytics project. And I was able to submit it without any penalties. So they do understand, and they ensure that they're supporting your learning experience in every way possible.
Great. So we have a few more questions, but we are out of time. And I promise you, viewers, that Ramla and I will answer your questions after this. So, Ramla, it's been a pleasure having you with us today. And your experiences and insights are incredibly motivating. And thank you for taking the time to be here. And to our audience, thank you for joining us today. But stay tuned for the next session. We do this every day, and I wish you guys a very happy day ahead.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Soumya.
you, Ramla.